Hi everyone, I'm Mike and this is the Sunday Art Show. This week I thought I'd share with you a few of the adventures I had with my sketchbook. So this was the first quick biro sketch of the week, and I just happened to be at the local library and I was waiting for somebody, and in the few minutes I had spare I decided to sketch this gent who was sat outside in the spring sunshine. So just a quick biro study of the scene there, but I was kind of pretty happy with that one. It kind of brightened my day to do a bit of sketching. Then the following day I was having lunch at home and our pet cat was lounging in the sun, as you can see, in amongst the plants. So I grabbed a pad of mixed media paper and a black sharpie pen and thought I'd do a quick sketch of him just lying there. And the sharpie pens, as you almost certainly know, are permanent markers and they create a really smooth running, clean line. But that means you've just got to be pretty confident and bold with your mark making, because you can't really remove any mistakes. So that confinement, provided by the media is actually a really interesting way to force yourself into a particular way of expressing ourselves artistically. So it's really good fun to do, really nice way to work quickly, and a really nice exercise in observation just to pick out the key lines. So having put down the outline of the cat here, I started to add a little bit of shading, and then I thought, well, actually I don't think I need it really. So instead I started to pop in some of the tall grass-like plants that his butt is pushing into as he lies there, and then some of the other foliage surrounding him, just to give him a little bit of an environment that he's occupying there. So again, just very loose outlines. The idea of these quick sketch exercises is just to keep training the observational skills and just be expressive really efficiently. So there's that little sketch, and then now he's moved, so he's just hanging out there, and I thought, well, that's a good pose, maybe just do another quick sketch. So I thought I'd give that one a go. And again, nice sweeping clean lines. Sorry about the background noise, I'm just kind of giving you the footage as it happened here. So one of our neighbours is doing some DIY or something. So just picking out the ears and the line of the head there. And cats have this wonderful graceful power, but by the time I'd done that much, he'd moved, so that was that. But nice little silhouette there. Another day in the week, early in the morning, I found myself on this very high up pavement, elevated above the road on the outskirts of Exeter, and looking out across the road at the rooftops. I was really caught by the shadows that were cast across the rooftop there, but I didn't set my camera up quite correctly. I've got a new little flexible legged tripod which my phone will clip into. So I corrected that and now I'm having another go. But what struck me about the view across the road is if you look at the section of roof on the left there's a lovely diagonal shadow from the chimney stack which is being cast across the roof. And then also, and this is quite typical of Exeter, you've got these buildings, but then just beyond you've got these wonderful rolling hills and lush countryside. And I thought that made for a nice, nice view, a nice little composition. So still with the Sharpie pen and the mixed media paper, which I think I'm going to kind of keep in my bag as much as possible, even if I'm out doing other stuff. You can see I've just put in a nice loose description of some rolling hills. Now, it's not a photographic representation, and I couldn't even guarantee that the contours of those hills are exact in my drawing, but hopefully the feeling is there, and certainly if I look at this sketch, then I'm going to kind of, it's going to remind me of this morning, this sort of kind of chilly, foggy morning before the day really got going, although as you can see the road is pretty busy there. But I've just drawn in the first of the chimney stacks, and I'm picking up on the cast shadow there, that nice diagonal shadow. And cast shadows are wonderful ways to very efficiently create a sense of three dimensions. They tell us so much about the surface of objects and the shape of objects. So if you look at that little band of shadow I've just put in, there's a little lump at the bottom edge there, and that picks out a little detail at the edge of that roof ridge. So just putting in some nice quick lines, not being too fussy at all. I'm not really overly concerned even about getting the numbers of windows correct or the shapes exactly right. I just want to capture the feeling. Now the little diagonal shadow on the left hand section of roof there, I didn't really leave myself enough room to include as much of that as I would like, but nevertheless it's included there. So maybe on another morning, if I'm taking the same route, I'll come back and do the same sketch and try and get more of that cast shadow in. But you can see that by working quickly and using the bold mark making that the Sharpie marker encourages, then it's a really good way to focus in on the simplicity within the complexity in front of us. So it's easy to get lost in the details of the brickwork or the tiles on the roof or the intricacies of the window frames. But generally speaking, the art that I create, I feel works better if I focus in on the main structure and the main shadows. And once again, you know, this was a lovely little diversion on the way to a non-artistic appointment, and I was just able to take a few minutes out of the day and really focus and keep looking with fresh eyes and a fresh frame of mind at the surroundings that I've experienced for many years now. But you know, this is one of the wonderful things about art. You can always look at something in a new way, and by changing the materials we use to create our paintings and drawings, I think that's one of the best ways to change the way we look. So a few quick horizontal lines to just suggest the roof tiles there, and I was really enjoying drawing these bay or these angular bay windows which protrude from the walls of the house. So now you can see we are at Exeter Parish Hall. So I actually held an art workshop here back at the beginning of March this year, and I hadn't got round to updating the poster in the poster board from the last time, because I'm doing another one in about a week. Now, as you can see, this poster's pretty bad. You have to be right up close to it before you can even read that it's advertising Exeter art class. So what I'm doing here is replacing it with the new upgraded version, much simpler, much bigger print. And the idea here is that hopefully when people are driving past on the road, even from the far side of the road, they're going to be able to see, oh, art class here, Friday the 5th of April, 1 p.m. And perhaps it doesn't come across quite on camera, but when I did cross the road, as I'm doing now, I was able to very easily read that it says Exeter art class. And so while I was here, while I was at Exeter Parish Hall, I thought, well, the river is just up the road here. Let's take a quick wander. Had my sketchbook with me, had my Sharpie pen. Let's see if I can find something to draw. So I've just come along the road. The hall is off to the right after you've crossed that bridge. And I'm just on a pavement here, which is between the River Exe, which is on the right of your picture, and the overflow channel, which is on the left, just at a slightly lower level. And what I'm actually doing is just checking out the mill across the water there, which is in under the hills and in amongst the trees. And I thought that'll do for a quick study. So here we go again with the Sharpie pen, and just filming on my phone as before, which, you know, as everyone knows, you know, phones are brilliant because it's a video camera in your pocket and it's very lightweight and versatile. And so, much like I did for the terraced houses in the previous sketch, I'm just trying to pull out as few simple lines as possible to describe the relatively complex structure of buildings that we've got over there. And now a quick outline of some trees. Just kind of letting the hand and wander and let the nib skip across the page so that we don't create too regular a pattern. There's a slightly better look at the mill and the trees surrounding it. And I've just put my pad down on my bag that I had with me, and that made for a pretty good easel, to be honest. There's enough shock absorption that it didn't rock around too much, but it isn't so gushy that it was useless. So that was cool. Another quick line of trees, and another couple of lines just to suggest kind of a pathway in the grass banks in the foreground. I didn't really want to get into drawing the concrete overflow channel. I felt it kind of distracted from the scene. I've put in a line of trees on the horizon now, and having done that, having kind of put the line work in, including the big tree on the right, I'm now beginning to add some tone. So I put in deep shadow under the front edge of that roof and within these little arched windows, and then just use some hatching to create something of a mid-tone on the right-hand side of that big house there, the big building. And again, when I'm looking at buildings, I'll try to pick out the key features. If you're looking at complex architecture, something like a cathedral, a really good tip is to squint. And I thought I was about to be run over here, but all was good, all was good. I wasn't expecting a lorry to come down this secluded road. But if you're looking at a cathedral or some ornate architecture, it's very easy to get lost in all the sculptures and all the twiddly bits of sculpture and stonework that those sorts of buildings include. But if you squint at them, it helps you pull out the main shadows and shapes. And this is a less complex building, but that's what I'm trying to do here, just working very simply with light and dark and line to capture the scene. So this little composition's starting to come together. Adding a few more wiggles on the left here for some trees. And although, you know, my camera work isn't perfect, I find it surprisingly easy to hold the phone in one hand and film and work away at the same time. But one of the things I did want to capture is the trees on the top of the hill line there. They were casting these wonderful shadows down across the field, you know, next to that tree line. So I just wanted to put those in. And that's that sketch more or less done, just a couple of quick lines, I think. And then this week in Exeter was, you know, unbelievable. We've had lots of cold weather recently and quite a bit of rain and stuff, so it hasn't been that nice, but very sunny and quite mild recently. So it was lovely to get outside in the fresh air and just be able to work away for a few minutes at a time on several days of the week at different times of the day, if I was out on my bike or on foot or in the car, whatever it was. Now I'm actually having lunch on a different day, very, very lovely venue at the Cathedral Green in Exeter. Just sat on the grass having some lunch. I'm not actually drawing the cathedral, but I'm drawing those buildings off in the distance there. If you're familiar with Exeter, that rather gorgeous looking Georgian style building, which is central to my composition, that's actually the back of the building which houses the Jack Will store. So the high street is just on the other side. A little bit of a time jump there. You can see I've put a few people in, and the tree, which you're about to see again, I moved to the left because it was smack in front of the building and I didn't think that was helping the composition very much. So I moved that to the left, added a little bit of cast shadow. You can see I've picked out key details. But let's just go through the sketches again. So here's the guy from the library, and I was very happy with the way I'd simply conveyed that figure with a few shapes. There's my pet cat again, and I decided to make the silhouette, put that onto some business cards. I thought that worked quite well, just a simple little design. So they're available on my Zazzle store. Here's the terraced housing with the hills behind. This might form the basis of a future painting. The sketch isn't that great, but it's okay. There's the mill looking across the water. I like the composition of this one. I think that worked okay. But this is my favourite of the week at the Cathedral Green. Very happy with the composition and the figures and the sense of depth with this one. And again, just using a Sharpie pen and paper, very simple materials, but absolutely brilliant fun. So there we go. Hope you really enjoyed this video. As always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. In the meantime, I hope to see you next Sunday for the next episode of The Sunday Art Show. Thanks very much for watching.